Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. We have a truly special narrative to unpack today. We're going to do a cinematic, storyboard-style deep dive into David Joseph's incredible script, 2 Stars. And I have to tell you, this isn't just your standard story about a coffee shop. It is a profound look at human connection, hidden struggles, and honestly, the completely unexpected places we find brilliance. So get comfortable, and let's walk through this amazing story, scene by scene. Okay, let's dive into this. The core thematic anchor for our entire story boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful phrase: different, not less. It perfectly sets the stage for our main characters. We have Betty and her brother Ben, who has autism, and eventually a man named Richard. As you'll see, this script masterfully shows us that being seen as different, or even struggling in the eyes of society, absolutely does not mean a person is less. In fact, it's usually where the real magic comes from.
All right, Act 1, the setup and the spark. Just imagine I'm a director pitching you a storyboard right now. We fade in on a bustling, everyday Starbucks.
You can practically hear it, right? The coffee machine's whirring, cups clinking, that familiar hum of conversation. This is where we meet Betty. She's an outgoing barista in her mid-20s, and she's working alongside her younger brother Ben. Looking right at the script, David Joseph immediately establishes this incredibly warm, supportive dynamic between them on page 1. Betty looks over at Ben, who's just diligently wiping down the counter, and tells him he's doing a fantastic job. She has built this safe haven for him where he is valued, capable, and just a totally essential part of the team. But, every story needs a spark of conflict.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast in our inciting incident. A man named Richard. Talk about a completely different first impression. At first, he storms in. He's rude, demanding, literally yelling at Betty because he got a cappuccino instead of a double shot latte. He wants his money back right then and there. Betty, being Betty, handles it with total grace, and with Ben's help, they make him a new drink. But then, the very next day, Richard returns. Only this time, he's incredibly apologetic. He just asks for a quiet place to sit and write. He flips from being this disruptive, angry force to a polite, incredibly dedicated regular. And wow, does he write? Richard sits by that window for hours on end. But he's not just clacking away on a laptop. He is writing entirely by hand, using all these different colors of ink. His work literally spreads across the tables, and Betty realizes it's not just writing, it is absolutely stunning calligraphy. So what starts as an apology transforms into this fascinating connection. The formerly grumpy customer actually steps behind the counter to teach Betty and Ben his calligraphy techniques. They bond over multicolored ink and creativity. He essentially becomes this wonderful mentor figure, completely shifting the vibe of their daily grind. That growing connection brings us right into Act 2, the mentorship and the climax. Because while Richard has become a fixture in the shop, Ben has been harboring a secret. He's been quietly rescuing Richard's beautifully written, discarded stories right out of the garbage. Ben is just completely captivated by Richard's words, which, of course, leads to a pivotal confrontation. Ben nervously approaches Richard holding the retrieved notebook, but instead of getting angry, Richard is just surprised and really understanding. Ben passionately asks to learn how to write like that, how to tell stories. Richard actually agrees, but he lays down one strict rule. Ben must respect his privacy and never share the personal stories without permission. And boom, the mentorship begins. Ben starts coming into the shop early, way before his shifts, spending hours soaking up writing techniques and calligraphy from Richard. It's amazing to see Ben growing so confident and creative. But there's a darker side to all this immense creativity. Richard confides in Betty that he's been trying to write this specific book for over 30 years without getting published, and he genuinely feels like time is running out. He tells her, "I have to finish this book, Betty. It's the only thing that matters to me." The tone of the whole script shifts right here. Richard's passion, it's morphing into a dangerous obsession. He starts isolating himself, totally ignoring Betty's pleas to take breaks and just, take care of his health. The breakdown is rapid. Week 1, he's writing furiously, hyper-focused. By week 4, he's completely isolated, skipping breaks, barely going home. Then, we hit hour 72 without rest. He hits a total wall of exhaustion. He comes into Starbucks looking pale, totally defeated. He packs up his things, steps outside, and literally at minute 1 outside the sanctuary of that coffee shop, he feels a sharp pain in his chest. He can't breathe. He suffers a massive heart attack right there on the sidewalk. This script captures this shocking climax so perfectly. Betty and the crew rush outside, only to find this brilliant, vibrant man lying there unresponsive. It's terrifying. They're completely helpless, just waiting for the ambulance, staring at the absolute fear in Richard's eyes. In an instant, the lively, colorful world of the coffee shop is just gone, replaced by panic and wailing sirens. That abrupt transition thrusts us into Act 3, the reveal and resolution. We move from the warm, bustling Starbucks into a sterile, quiet hospital room. Richard survives the emergency surgery, thankfully, but as he lies there recovering, the weight of a massive secret is just crushing him. He knows he can't hide it anymore. So the crucial point is this devastating, raw confession. Richard looks at Betty, his voice trembling, and tells her, "I'm homeless, Betty. I've been living under a bridge and using the local gym to shower and clean up before I come to Starbucks every day." I mean, let that sink in for a second. This master calligrapher, this wise mentor who completely changed Ben's life, has been secretly battling the extreme hardship of homelessness the entire time. He hid it all because he was terrified of people pitying him. But Betty's reaction? It is the true emotional peak of the story. She doesn't pull away. She doesn't offer pity. She simply takes his hand and says, "Richard, I don't pity you. I admire you. You've been through so much and you've still managed to be kind and creative and inspiring." It is this incredible offering of absolute, unconditional support, and that single moment of empathy fundamentally changes the trajectory of everyone's lives.
And this brilliantly illustrates the chain reaction of good deeds that follows. Fueled by this community support, Richard actually finishes his book, and it becomes a massive, instant bestseller. But what does he do? He doesn't buy a mansion. Richard starts directly handing out cash to the homeless, no questions asked. He remembers exactly where he came from. And Ben is so inspired by this that he joins them out on the streets, taking notes, interviewing the people society left behind, which leads to this incredible culmination. Ben, the barista with autism who was just quietly wiping counters in Act 1, writes his own book, giving a voice to the voiceless. And guess what? It becomes a bestseller too.
So the end of the script is actually this beautiful new beginning. It's the full circle realization of that different, not less message we talked about at the start. Ben proves his immense capabilities to the entire world, using the exact skills his mentor taught him to help the very community his mentor came from. They found each other in a random coffee shop and ended up changing their corner of the world. It really makes you pause, doesn't it, thinking about the people we just walk past every single day. So I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you sit in a coffee shop, who might be writing their masterpiece at the table right next to you? Who might have a story of profound resilience hidden just beneath the surface? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this incredible script. Keep looking for the brilliance in everyone around you, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.